So recently, I went to see the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Despite not being the biggest Nintendo fan as a kid, I was more into PlayStation at the time. I still occasionally played multiple Mario games growing up. Plus, there's no debate that Mario is the most impactful video game character of all time when you consider he's been around for over 4 decades and is still popular. My point is that I was excited to see Nintendo trying to give the Mario Brothers another chance when it came to a movie adaptation. Plus, with the success of other video game movies, like Sonic, I had high expectations for this movie. So how did this movie do, and would I recommend it? Before we start, this review will be less detailed than my other reviews. Since the film is still in theaters, I want to avoid as many spoilers as possible. Maybe I'll do a more detailed review in the future, but for now, I'll avoid anything significant. As usual, let's start with the story. After finding the superstar, Bowser decides to make his move to try to get Princess Peach to marry him, or destroy the Mushroom Kingdom if she says no. At the same time, Mario and Luigi are two brothers with their own plumbing business in our world. However, they are transported to the world of Peach and Bowser, but are separated. After Luigi gets captured, Mario joins forces with Princess Peach to save him and the Mushroom Kingdom. Honestly, the Mario Brothers is something that doesn't need a summary. Bowser is the bad guy, and Mario is the plumber who stops him. Even if you've never played a Mario game, I'm sure you know how the story works. Granted, it does make some changes to the formula. I'll come back to that later, but the film is a lot of fun both for following the story and the changes it made. To start, I love the amount of fan service this film has for Nintendo. The callbacks to other franchises, seeing Mario run through a 2D course, and it even has the music from the Mario games. I don't mean to compare them, but even the first Sonic movie didn't have any music from the games during it, and only had a Sonic song in the second film as a ringtone. And unlike the Sonic films, the songs in the Mario movie have a purpose. For example, the Super Mario theme plays when Mario and Toad walk through the Mushroom Kingdom. It may sound like a small detail, but it adds to the feelings that this film was a love letter to the game series. It's like the people making it realize they're making the film first for the fans that played the games, and are taking that into account with things like putting music from the games into scenes that fit. Not to get too off topic, but why don't the Sonic movies do this? James Rolfe has even brought this up in his reviews about the Sonic movies not having any of the music aside from using the Green Hill Zone theme as a ringtone in the second film. In comparison, that felt more like the creators were saying they didn't know how to make it fit and decided to make it a ringtone. Again, why aren't we getting more Sonic music in those movies? I still enjoy them, but I find it weird that they haven't added any music from the games to the films. Or if they want to just stick to doing separate soundtracks, why not let Crush 40 make the soundtrack to a movie? You know, the guys that made Live and Learn, Escape from the City, and Endless Possibilities? Seriously, is it too hard to suggest that they make the soundtrack for a movie when their soundtracks for the games are so great? Anyways, my rant's over. Back to what I love about the Mario movie. The best part of this film was the characters. They all feel like they nailed the game's characters while adding some new things. For example, we see the Mario brothers struggling with their new business as plumbers and see their family isn't supportive of their decision to be their own business. It adds that layer of giving more depth to Mario and Luigi while also showing us they are plumbers. Sometimes I forget they are plumbers because my first thoughts are about them always stopping Bowser. Speaking of, Bowser was great in this film. He's huge and intimidating, like I remember from the games, but the movie adds him also in love with Peach and trying to convince her to marry him. It's fun because he goes from this giant monster wanting to rule everything to playing a song about being in love with Peach and hoping she'll marry him because he's so powerful and wants to rule everything together. Also, Jack Black is incredible as Bowser's voice, which is why it works so well. I honestly can't think of anyone that would have had a similar performance if it wasn't for him in this role. Another character I loved was Peach. I know some people complained about Peach not being the damsel of distress she always is, but this film makes it work. I know others have said things like Doug Walker and Steve's reviews, but unlike Mario and Luigi, Peach is from the Mushroom Kingdom. It makes sense for her to be better than them at doing things, like running obstacles or fighting. Also, to bring up another point Doug Walker made in his review, this isn't the first time Nintendo didn't have Peach as the damsel of distress. As he said in his own review, Nintendo made comics for Nintendo Power where Peach was the one that had to go and save Mario. Plus, Peach has been a playable character in games since Super Mario Bros. 2 for the NES, which came out in 1988, So for everyone complaining about Peach not being the damsel in distress this time, remember it's not the first time Nintendo has done that. My last point is that I love the interaction between Mario and Peach in this film. It's not played as them already in love or anything like that. Instead, it comes off like a friendship slowly building as they get to know each other more. I'm not saying their falling in love wouldn't be a thing in the future, but it's clear there are more important things in their lives during this film, which makes sense they'd be more focused on that. If I had to nitpick one issue I had, which is a small one, the film feels like it does a little too much. We have Mario trying to stop Bowser with Peach, Mario fighting Donkey Kong to get the apes on his side, and then all of them having a team up where they fight Koopa Troopers in carts. Additionally, they try to squeeze in referencing how Luigi has always had Mario stand up for him because he's too scared. I'm not saying it's that big of an issue, but it does feel like it doesn't get as much time as everything else. Additionally, it feels like that resolution is rushed compared to how everything else in the film gets resolved. Again, that's my only real issue, and it doesn't take away from how much I enjoyed this film. As I said in my Tekken Bloodline review, the creators knew the people who would want to watch a Mario movie would be those who loved the video games, so they made a faithful adaptation for said fans. I'm sure they'd be happy if this attracted new fans to the Mario series, but it's still important to remember the fans that have been with the series all this time. The Super Mario Bros. Movie isn't just a love letter to Mario fans. It's another example of a video game movie that can be good while staying faithful to the source material. It may have made a few minor changes, but it never felt like I wasn't watching a Mario movie while it was playing. If you're a fan of the Mario series, then I can't recommend this film enough. I promise you'll enjoy this and be happy knowing Nintendo is finally giving the movie idea another chance. Yeah, people will mostly think of another Mario movie in the future, but there are a bunch of franchises Nintendo has that deserve their own film. However, that's a list for another time. Until then, you can be assured the Super Mario Bros. Movie is worth watching. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my Super Mario Bros. Review. Again, I know it's short, but it's still out in theaters, so I wanted to keep spoilers to a minimum. However, I'm curious about what all of you think. What are your thoughts on the Super Mario Bros. Movie? Do you think the Super Mario Bros. Movie is the best video game movie to date? What other Nintendo franchises do you think deserve their own movie? Let me know all of that in the comments. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to see more of my content in the future. Also, I recently had a short comic based on my book made, so please check that out. It's posted on my Twitter and Instagram. The links to those, as well as the rest of my social media, are in the description. I'm Marco Strange. Stay safe, stay strange.